Hi everyone, welcome to Artsonia's After School Art Club. Today we have a fun art project from Mrs. Griffith, an art teacher from Montana. Hope you enjoy the video and don't forget to have your artwork uploaded to your Artsonia gallery.
Hi there. So I'm Jennifer Griffith. My kids call me Mrs. Griffith. I teach at a K-8 elementary school in Montana. I also teach French and culture, but my passion is art. I'm so excited to be a part of the Artsonia After School Club to share that with you and to create some beautiful artwork. So enjoy and have fun and let's create. Hey everybody! I am so excited to do one of the funnest, easiest, and most rewarding projects that I have come across in my teaching and creating because it's simple and it's super fun and you end up with a beautiful result. So I'm just going to go over a couple things that you need today. You need a cup. It can be any cup. It doesn't have to be a plastic cup, but it doesn't have to be a clear cup. That's just what I have that works best. And then I use the old ketchup and mustard bottles for my paint. So again, whatever paint you have, you would prefer probably to use a tempera paint or paint that's a little runnier than say an acrylic or a thicker paint because you do want it to blend together and on its own. So I have just a basic tempera paint in the bottles and it's easier to store the paint and also to use it. So I've picked out 3 colors. You can, actually I wanted blue, I picked out purple. Let me put my purple back in my little cache of colors here. And I picked a magenta, a blue, and a white. And this also is determined how you want to add it is fine. No matters there. So I'm going to start with my white. And I'm going to add my paint to my cup, which you can add in any way. It's easier for me. I'm just going to squirt it in there till I've covered pretty much the bottom of it. And then I'm going to add some blue. Now I'm not going to squirt it as hard because I don't want to make a divot in the middle of my paint. I'm probably going to squirt on the side and then let it drop down. So you can see I'm almost making a layered sundae, like an ice cream paint sundae with my colors. I'm gonna add again some magenta there and I'm squeezing it out, but I'm not forcing it out with a lot of pressure. So I'm gonna do some more blue here. And the way that you make your little paint layer is really dependent on what your favorite colors are or what you want to get from your paint mixing. So once I have a pretty good sundae made here, I'm going to add a little bit more of this magenta, I think. So I've got that done. Now a couple things. When you use your board or whatever you choose to use for your canvas, I actually have an old, remember the old chalkboards, little mini chalkboard? I just use the back of that. Of course, I'm thinking ahead. If I ever want to use this chalkboard again, I have it. But I also just want to stress that you want something that is fairly firm. So a piece of paper or even cardboard is a little iffy. You want to do either wood or an actual canvas board, which you can get at any craft supply store. All right, so we are going to swirl our paint together, and it's pretty simple. We've added our paint to here, and now we're gonna add it to here with a little bit of a dump. So you ready? Let's dump. So we're gonna dump, and I'm gonna leave that there just for a little bit to get all that paint out. I'm gonna let it sit there. Kind of made a really pretty color on my cup. Then I'm just gonna lift it and let all the paint come out on its own. Ooh, look at that inside of that. That's pretty cool, huh? I could let that dry. That would be fun. I'm just gonna maybe get a little bit out there. And as you can see, I use the temper, so it's a little bit jiggly. So I'm just gonna kind of help it go. So I'm gonna pick it up and I'm gonna move it. And all of that paint is going to mix on its own. So one of the things that you are creating is something that is abstract, which means that you don't necessarily recognize what it is. It's just a design. And a lot of times when we recognize things, those are more realistic or real. You can tell the different consistency or viscosity is another word for how your paint moves, but you can see it's almost like a lava flow. Some of it's fast, some of it's slow. So I'm just going to, again, move this around so it covers all of my paper. I don't have any gloves on, but it might get a little messy. I just use a messy mat. My messy mats are parchment paper that you normally get. It just so happens that I used to own a restaurant, so I have all those nifty kitchen tricks, and parchment paper is a really nice piece to use. So you can see it's starting to drip over the edges, and I want it to get on the edges, so I'm just going to go ahead and let that drip down too. And then what's nice about the parchment paper is that you can reuse them. The paint will dry on there and then it won't stick. So I'm just kind of moving it along to where I've got the paint on the edges where I want it. There's some moving really fast. And as it's moving, it's mixing even more and more. At some point, if you found that you had actually liked the way that the curved lines and all of those are working, then you could go ahead and stop, and then I'll show you what you can do to get some paint on the edge. So I think I'll do that. I'll just go ahead and lie that down now that I have a really nice background. You can leave it with just the paint, or you can use it as a background for something else. All right, and I have a little extra paint, so I'm just going to put that on top and see what happens, just for fun to make a little print. And I have another interesting little background. I'll leave that down there. I'll just set that on top. So make sure everybody can see okay. All right, so now I have some really cool mixed paint that I can have for my creation, and I'm just going to add some dollops of paint around here and those edges, and then this could work any way. I have a couple tools. I have a paintbrush, and I also have a kind of like a carving tool. It's just a skewer would work, like a bamboo skewer, or anything that you might have in the kitchen that has a sharp point. Another really good tool would be a toothpick. And you can just kind of take that paint and you can swirl that into your design. And I'm just kind of notice I'm not painting the paint on there because I don't want it to look real uniform and smooth. I want it to have some texture. So I am just bringing some of that, and I don't know if you can see that very well, but I will lift that up so you can kind of see how I made a design with just the paint that I added. You might want to do that in the middle too. Maybe you add a little bit of paint there, and then you can pull that paint through your other paint, which is a nice fun addition. Say you wanted to do a particular design, or you wanted to do the initials of your name on there. Those squeeze bottles really help with adding that paint because you're able to be a little bit more defined in what you want instead of abstract. So again, I'm going to do that here. I'm just going to pull that paint into the rest of my picture, and I'm going to pull this paint into the rest of my picture. And again, I probably haven't said it enough. I mean, that was a joke. I'm sure I've said it plenty. You're going to end up with a lot of texture on these beautiful creations because you added a little bit of paint. Well, you added a lot of paint to give it that. So anyway, I'm just kind of pulling in. I'm just playing with it. That's the one thing, is it's didn't have any expectations of what it would turn out like from before. So I'm not disappointed in what I ended up. I ended up with what I wanted because I didn't know what I wanted. There we go. So it's a really gorgeous design, and it's pleasing to our eyes, which another word for that is aesthetics, how it looks to us. And sometimes in art, you know, it's just fun to make things that look pretty. And so I have that for you today. A very nice painting to make something look pretty. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.